Fancy shirt you got there, Department of Minnesota what? DFW. You could have that somewhere more than just that little, it's hard to read. Maybe you could have bigger.
Recording in progress.
All right, let's get this meeting for the City of International Falls called to order. It is 5:30, Monday, October 16th. If you could all join me in pledging allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Please note that all members of the council are present. First item on the agenda is to approve the agenda. Chair would entertain a motion to approve the agenda. I don't believe we have any additions or deletions.
I'll move.
We have a motion by Councillor Kaler. Do we have a second? Second. Second by Councillor Buller. Discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye. And I'll vote yes. Motion carries 5-0. We'll go on to the minutes. The minutes of our regular city council meeting from October 2nd. Chair would entertain a motion to approve those.
I'll move.
We have a motion by Councillor Wagner.
I'll second.
We have a second by Councillor Holden. Any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. And I'll vote yes. Motion carries 5-0. Next, we go to the minutes of our committee of the whole, which was last week. Chair would entertain a motion to approve those minutes. We have a motion to approve by Councillor Buller.
I'll second.
We have a second by Councillor Kaler. Discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. And I will vote yes. Motion carries 5-0. Next, we have payments and claims. We have a resolution before us. We have transfers going to the 401 Permanent Improvement Project of $66,666.66. That's coming evenly between the 601 water and the 603 sewer in the amount of $33,333.33. We have funds going to the 403 Capital Reserve for outlay, and that is $20,567.25. That's coming from the 601 water in the amount of $14,693, and the 603 sewer in the amount of $5,874.25 for total transfers of $87,233.91. Accounts payable, International Falls claims, we have $1,196,544.30, and International Falls Airport, or I'm sorry, we don't have any airport today, I'm not used to that. International Falls Public Library Board claims of $5,233.32 for a total of $1,201,777.62. Chair would entertain a motion to adopt the resolution approving the payments and claims.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Councillor Holden.
Second.
We have a second by Councillor Wagner. Discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And I'll vote yes. Motion carries 5-0. Next, we go to audience. If there's anyone in the audience that would like to bring anything forward, please, Julie.
Okay, I know it isn't final yet, but I know you talked about a 9.5 tax increase.
Yep.
Okay, I'd like you to tell me and the community where that money's going to go.
It's going to be going into our public works, our fire department. I mean, it's coming to the general fund. There's nothing additional that the city is doing other than our routine things. There's no additional things. It's cost of living increases and inflation.
So it's only going to go into those two things you named, or I want the name of where it's all going to go.
Every department that the city has. There's no...
All going to go into that?
Yes.
Okay. And I would also suggest that we need to put back in the public health person, because I've been working on this, and not everybody can go in these disgusting houses. And as I have one on my block that needs to go down. And if you go to, in the charter, section 118 to 133, read it.
I'm familiar about the public health officer.
All right, well, we need to get them back in there. Otherwise, Jared can't just go in certain houses, but the public health person can. I've talked to the county, I've talked to the state, all over.
And
But we need a public health person.
I wouldn't argue with that. The problem that we've had with the public health person is the city can't pay enough to pay their malpractice insurance, and the cost to have that person. We can't afford to have a public health doctor on staff to do this. We have the county that has the ability to have a public health person as well. They do have a public health person,
But they will not help.
but we are in the county.
Well, I told him that. The city is in the county. When they called me back, I said, well, we're in the county. But we need to go somewhere. We had them before. We had these before. We paid for it before. Doesn't always have to be a doctor if you look it up. Maybe you can get some other kind of health person to be able to do it. But we need help. I mean, this is insane. If you go and look at some of these homes, it's disgusting. And we're dealing with one right now on my block that needs to go.
And I would not disagree with any of the things that
Well,
you're
I
saying.
need help. I need help to get that investigated.
And again, I would argue that I have spoke with the state of Minnesota, and they have told me you have to go through the county. We
I know.
have
I
tried to go
understand.
through the county, and
Then
we
the
get
county
kicked.
tells me I have to go to the state, so everybody gives the runaround. But something has to be done to get these houses checked. They are not healthy to be in. And I'm tired of the rats and the mice coming from that house. We shouldn't have to deal with that, Harley, at all.
I agree.
Shouldn't have to have our traps out and trap them in our house. I mean, it's not very much fun. You know, and maybe you guys don't live next to any of that stuff, but it's not fun to do that. Something's got to be done where we can get a certain person to go in there,
Thank you. Yeah, I agree.
okay? I mean, I need help here because this is insane.
Thank you. Anybody else have anything to bring forward to the city council? There will also be an opportunity at the end of the meeting. Go down to the consent agenda. We have one item on the consent agenda, approve the 2024 renewal of the Blue Cross Blue Shield Plan 653. Chair would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
We have a motion by Councilor Buller. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Councilor Kaler. Call the question.
Aye.
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 And I will vote yes. Motion carries 5-0. Next, we have a 3-2 off-sale license, a restaurant license, cigarette licenses for Super One Foods to their new location at 1606 Highway 71. Chair would entertain a motion to approve those licenses.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Councilor Holden. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Councilor Buller. Any discussion? Hearing none, please.
If I may,
Yep.
just for information, Mayor, in speaking with Lisa upon my return, she's been working with Super One, and as you see, this will be a transfer effective October 27th from their current location to the new location. So it's just a transfer of the location of their licenses from the old to the new for the rest of the year, and then the new year will all be under their new address as that renewal comes before us later on, prior to the end of the year.
Excellent. So we have a motion and a second. Call the question.
Aye.
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 I'll vote yes. Motion carries 5-0. Next, we have a itinerant restaurant license for Lem's Bigwood Pizza. Chloe Doherty, she here tonight? I don't believe so.
Again, that was one Lisa's been working on. It did not have time to go in front of land use and legislation, so I told Lisa I'd explain here this evening that they have all their state licenses and information for their wood burning to do their pizzas, and they are planning an event in November, so they asked if we could move it straight to council versus a committee first, and I said I would bring it for you guys for discussion. So they have met their requirements as far as licensing and state permitting for their mobile unit and their work comp and all of the requirements. So we put it in front of you today for consideration.
Excellent. Chair would entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion from Councillor Holden to
Second.
approve. We have a second by Councillor Wagner. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
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 And I'll vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Next, we go to lease agreement for taser units. Chief Koscheck.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Well, I put before you two different quotes for lease agreements for tasers. As you can see, there's a pretty big price point difference between the certified and the basic. You're not going to get two quotes from two different companies because, simply put, Axon is the only one who supplies tasers. So I just gave you those two for a point of reference on what it would cost to get one with the services I don't feel are essential versus the basic one, which is needed for our agreement. We went to the lease agreement for tasers about 5 years ago. This is just renewing and upgrading our tasers. The ones we have currently are obsolete and slated for replacement in January. If we enter into the agreement this year, we'll save around $4,000, so I just thought it would be a good time to do it.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Chief Koscheck?
Which plan do you suggest?
The basic.
The basic.
The basic. I think the money you would be spending for the certified, I don't think it's worth it, so I think we just stick with the basic and get our tasers, and that's the one we went with the last lease, so.
It worked out well.
Works out fine, yep.
All right, Chair would entertain a motion to approve the basic taser units per
I'll make the motion.
Chief Koscheck's request. We have a motion by Councillor Holden,
Second.
second by Councillor Wagner. Discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And I will vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Next, we have two quotes for demolition. Believe our city attorney is online. City attorney, do you want to walk us through these two?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yep.
So the first is 1101 9th Street. There were two quotes for that. Steve Boyum, $9,389.75, and Travis Thompson also quoted. He was the low one at $7,390. And I wasn't sure if these were supposed to be going to the IFEDA, which I believe is right after this, so wherever it's supposed to be.
It doesn't matter.
We can take care of it here, but I think the funds will be coming out of IFDA funds.
Okay. So I guess at this time, we could take a motion to send this to the IFEDA to be demolished. Chair would entertain that motion.
So moved.
We have a motion by Councillor Buller. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councillor Kaler. Any discussion?
Is that the Thompson's rate, right?
Yeah, that would be for the low bid, I assume. All right, call the question.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And I'll vote yes, motion carries 5-0 to send that to the IFEDA. Next, you have the quote. I don't see it on the paperwork, but Chelsea, could you walk us through the next one?
Yeah, so the second one is 817 6th Street. This is the Saxton property. Both of these are in the court process right now. We've filed motions. We don't have motion dates yet, so it's basically approving a quote, and then once we get the order from the judge, they'd come down. But there's only one quote on this one from Steve Boyum Construction, and he provided $12,840 for a bid to, it says demo house, garage slab, haul away to Cooch County landfill, cap off water and sewer lines, and backfill basement.
We're not expecting any other bids, or the bids have closed on that?
These came from the fire marshal. I don't think we're getting any more on it.
Okay.
Travis Thompson had bid, this is a weird one. It was approved last summer sometime, but the owner was Crystal Gordon at the time. She claimed it back after signing a demo agreement, so we had to start the process over. And he did, the fire marshal did reach out to Travis Thompson, and he was no longer willing to be held to that same bid from over a year ago.
Now, is this Boyum's bid a year ago then, too?
The question.
I didn't hear that.
The question was, is Boyum's bid from a year ago as well, or is that a new bid?
No, that's from the 13th, Friday.
So we've only received one bid, and Mr. Thompson doesn't plan on bidding.
Well, my question was, the comment you made was that Thompsons weren't willing to use the same bid that they used back then, is what you said, right, Chelsea?
I didn't hear that either. Sorry.
The statement you made was that Thompsons weren't willing to acknowledge their bid that they bid last time. Where they have a chance to bid it over then?
Yeah, the fire marshal did reach out to him.
Okay.
All right, so given the set of circumstances, only having the one bid, the chair would entertain a motion to approve that bid and send it to the EDA for approval.
So moved.
We have a motion by Councillor Buller.
Second.
We have a second by Councillor Wagner. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
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 I'll vote yes, motion carries 5-0.
Charlie, do you know how soon this is going to be done?
It's still in the court process, but as soon as it's finalized and we get approved from the court, we'll be able to do it, I assume, this year.
Yeah, because she had until the 15th of October.
All right, we'll move on to approve the recommendation of the Parks and Facilities Hiring Committee to hire 2 seasonal part-time Parks and Facilities assistants. The recommendation is Nick Anderson and Tia Goulet. Chair would entertain a motion to approve those 2 hires.
So moved.
We have a motion by Councillor Buller. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councillor Kaler. Discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
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 And I will vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Next, we have consider hiring for the posted part-time emergency medical technician position. The recommendation is Elizabeth Lorenz. Chair would entertain a motion to approve that.
I'll move.
We have a motion by Councillor Kaler. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councillor Holden. Discussion. Please.
In light of our ambulance issues, are we moving forward with more money, cost?
Well, this, I don't think this is going to cost us any more money having the EMTs. These are the people that are on call, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's not adding. to
It's
the-
filling in
Yeah,
positions.
filling in.
Okay, perfect.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
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 And I will vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Next, we go to Public Works Committee recommendations. Approve the driveway entrance specifications and regulations. I won't lie, this was the most boring material I've ever read. I'm sorry, Jason.
I thought it
I'm
was
sorry,
very
Jason.
exciting. Yeah,
But I know the history and how we've gotten to this point. Jason, do you want to just bring any information about this?
If you have questions, I can.
Okay. So Chair would entertain a motion to approve the driveway entrance specifications.
So moved.
We have a motion by Counselor Buller. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Counselor Kaler. Any discussion?
Yeah. Which are we talking about this driveway, or what are we?
We're talking about
All driveways
all
in the
driveways
city.
throughout the city, a template so that all are built the same. Everybody has to go by this template with the one entrance into their property.
So Walt, can you explain it to us?
Yeah.
What, as far as what? It's just
What we're doing here with it? Making any changes from what it was, or what?
We didn't have any regulation.
Oh, you didn't have any?
No, it was just fly-by-night kind of way it was before.
So it was,
Jason, why don't you come on up and talk to us?
so it was just fly-by-night is what
Well,
it was?
each, you know, each one was approached on
Separately.
its own separately. This way, it's
Standardized.
standardized.
Mike, you were just looking
Yes.
for a rise.
I'd like to have you explain this
Yes,
to me.
my name's Jason Fisher, and I'm
Yeah.
city engineer. So this standard in particular, the city usually has standards for the different things that, methods that we construct things across the city. And this particular one is one that we get questions on all the time for getting curb cuts or putting in approaches and driveways. And this will standardize it. So going forward, we will follow this template for how we'd make those driveways, where we position them, where we locate them. There is an avenue for exceptions if they have them, if there's some situations that might require that, so. But it's a pretty common thing for communities to have as standards, and this is one we felt was important to start with.
I got one that I'd like to bring up, that it's on 13th Avenue and 11th Avenue, or 13th Street and 11th Avenue.
Okay.
Guy along quite a few years ago was promised to have a curb cut so that he could have and build a garage extension, and he was promised that he could have it. And now I understand why it was verbal, because we didn't have any policy.
Correct.
So he was told that they would get to it and remove the curb, and then that's why he built an extra stall for a garage. He's got like a 3-stall garage. And he's talked to me about it a number of times. He's talked to people in the city about it and has gotten nowhere. He may have gotten somewhere now here, being that we didn't have any policy. I would think he'd be able to get that done. I don't know what kind of rules you guys came up with, or footage, or what, but I guess, can you explain that to me?
I don't know the situation in particular, so I'll have to check with the city staff tomorrow and find out
Okay.
what that request was about and
Okay.
and how it would fit into this standard, so.
Okay.
But if he built it to a standard that's not the same as this, we'll be able to work with him so that it's
Hey, that's
usable.
I can live with that.
Yes.
That's fantastic. Okay. Maybe we can take care of them then.
Yes.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Call the question.
Aye.
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 And I will vote yes. Motion carries 5-0. Next, we have approve a facility condition assessment proposal for the City of International Falls, Cary Park Rink. Chair would entertain a motion to approve that facility study.
I'll move.
We have a motion by Councillor Kaler,
Second.
second by Councillor Buller. Just background, the reason that we're doing this is so that we can have a true assessment of what the problems are at the Cary Park Arena before we move forward with anything else. We need to know what our costs are to fix what we have. So, any other questions or concerns, please?
No, this is getting paid for out of the money we got from the state? Is that, or is this,
I don't know that. Is this,
how we paying for this?
it would come out of recreation one way or another.
I'm not sure where the intent was.
Didn't we get some,
We got $1 million.
didn't we get $1 million for this?
That was to plan a new building, not to,
To get the condition of what the current
no,
building.
I do not believe so.
I don't believe so either. I believe that this would be assessing the building that we have through recreation. That would be my guess.
Any idea what it's going to cost?
Yeah, what's it gonna cost?
It's about $9,000.
Jason, do you have a dollar amount on that?
It was roughly $9,000 for them to do the work and the proposal. I don't know if a public work director is going to take it out of park and rec funds or government building, but he has the money set aside for it.
It's 9,000.
Yep.
$9,900.
Okay.
9,900.
9,000.
9,900.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any other questions? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
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 I'll vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Next, we have Bremer New Deposit, ICS, Deposit Placement Agreement. Chair would entertain a motion to approve that.
I'll move.
We have a motion by Councillor Kaler. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Councillor
Wagner.
I'll give it to him.
I'll give it to Wagner.
All right. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Call the question.
Aye.
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 And I'll vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Next, we have the approve the earned sick and safe time policy. Chair would entertain a motion to approve that.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Councillor Buller. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councillor Holden. Discussion? Please.
Yeah, I don't think we should be voting on this. My question is, have you sat down with the unions and discussed this move and the collective bargaining agreement, how it's affected?
So as I mentioned at the committee of the whole meeting last week, this has been brought up at the Labor Management Committee meetings with all of them, with the exception of the police who do not have a Labor Management Committee. In that instance, I did sit down with the union steward, discussed it with him as well as the chief. State statute does not require us to have a conversation with the collective bargaining units, provided our policy meets or exceeds that of the ESST.
Correct.
So, yeah, so we have had the discussions with the Labor Management Committee meetings, yes.
Okay, and what was your feedback from them?
They did not provide any feedback. It was on the agenda. I gave them the state, which I shared with City Council at the last two committee of the wholes. I gave them from the state kind of the outline of ESST, the Earn Sick and Safe. And then last week, after we got direction to advance this to the City Council meeting for additional review, comment, approval, I shared that with the business agents, the specific policy.
But did you sit down and discuss it with them for any ideas that they may have accordingly for it? Or did you just provide them with what you think you're going to do?
I provided them with the direction we received from City Council and then the policy I created, and then, yes, from the committee of the whole. That is correct.
So I don't think we should be voting on this. I think you need to go back and talk to the unions first, make sure you get this all straightened out. And I think you need to fall back on FMLA as the guidelines are by the federal government for now, because this doesn't come into place until January 1. So you've got a couple months to talk to them about this and make sure this is correct and nothing is out of place.
Just to clarify, they're two separate policies.
Yep.
FMLA has been...
That is correct.
...has been out there since the 90s. So
yes.
The city just did not have a formal policy and has always relied on the federal flyer to...
Yes. And that's what I think you should be relying on for the FMLA.
Well, that's what the policy is, but only...
Well, I read the policy, and it's a little different than what the government parts are. You've got some other things in there that are not the same.
Such as?
Reporting it and what they have to do to give you different access to what they're using it for. So I just think there's not enough clarity here with your union officials,
and I believe you should go back and talk about that. And then bring it back to us. I think we're there, but...
Please.
Mayor, if I may, and thanks for allowing me to speak on this, even though I wasn't here for the Committee of the Whole, we did bring this to the Committee of the Whole last week, and we had no discussion. Why wasn't this brought up then, so we could have to review this information you're asking us to review, when we are abiding by all state laws? What we're asking and what you approved to move forward to today is greater and more lenient, or not more lenient, but more benefits to our employees than state law requires. We are not doing anything outside of state law or federal law for either number A or B of the Committee of the Whole recommendations. So just unsure why this is coming to us now.
Well, after I read it more in depth, and I've heard from a couple union officials, they were not contacted about it, and they were not given time to sit down and talk with Sherry about it. So I think you need to do that.
And I know our union officials have been invited to meetings. They were invited to meetings months ago, and then at the last minute, they were unable to attend that meeting, but never did reach out until just 2 days ago to say they want more information. Or yesterday, actually, not 2 days ago. And we are providing, and their union stewards have this information. And their union stewards have not come to us and asked us any additional questions, or if they have, we've clarified them. So we are providing the information to the union. So I want to make sure that that is clear. We are providing this information. We are abiding by state law as well, and federal law when it comes to the FMLA.
Well, I just think you need to make sure you have the thorough communication with them so that everybody's on the same page. Okay, because I don't think you are.
Just to clarify, in addition, both of the union labor management committee meetings that we had with the two different labor management committees in September did have that as an agenda item. So it was clearly put out there that the city would be moving forward with this. And it was provided at those meetings. If I understand that perhaps some people couldn't be in attendance, but no one, like the administrator said, no one reached out to us until now.
Well, that's just my feeling.
Okay.
I think just so we're good, nobody's at fault here. Let's just make sure that it's, they're comfortable with it, you're comfortable with it, and we can move forward on it. That's my thoughts.
Okay. So do you want to make a motion to table this? Is that?
I would. I'd like to make a motion to table it.
Okay. We have a motion to table. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Councillor Holden to table. At this point, are there any questions about tabling it? Hearing none, I'll call the question on tabling it.
Aye.
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 And I would vote no, because I think we've went through the policy correctly. But we will table this action to our next council meeting and give Sherry some more time to get the information out.
And I would agree with you, even though I voted to table it, just to keep everybody happy, but best I can tell, nothing's going to change for them.
Yeah. And I think that...
Nothing. I think we're making whatever. We said to table it, so we'll do that.
And I just want to say that I think that the staff has put in a ton of work in this, and maybe there's some clarification that we need to do, but I don't think that there was any neglect from the city staff through this process. Thank you, Sherry. Next, we have approve the family and medical leave FMLA policy. Chair would entertain a motion to approve that one.
I'll move.
We have a motion by Councillor Kaler. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Councillor Buller. Discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
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 And I will vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Next, we have the, a resolution utilizing a project labor agreement for the City of International Falls. Chair would entertain a motion to approve the resolution that was put before us.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Councillor Holden. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Councillor Wegner. Discussion?
Just that I would like to, and I might have missed it, but I'd like to set a threshold on it where this comes in to effect, or makes sense for everybody. You know, like if the project is over $100,000.
It's in there.
And like I said, I could have missed it, and that's no big deal.
175.
175 is the dollar amount.
All right, then I don't know on that.
And if I may, as directed out of the committee of the whole meeting, I did the research on this and looked up, and this PLA goes into effect on bidded projects. So therefore, I thought the language would be clear and we wouldn't have to updating the resolution upon if we were to go by the state bidding, you know, amount, which can change. And I know in discussions with the previous or other cities who had done this, I think their amounts were actually based on that bidding amount, which have changed. I think they changed in 14 or 15, if I'm not mistaken, was the last time they changed, but I'm not certain on those dates. But so as state statute changes for bidding regulations that we're required to abide by, then that would change with this as well. This would change according to state statute.
Okay, so it's at 175 now, but if the state would go to 200 next year, it automatically goes to 200?
That is correct.
Or we have to redo it again?
No, we would be in compliance with the most current state statute. So as state statute changes, we would comply with the most current state statute. Yep.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
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 I'll vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Next, we have the approve the snowplower's license fee increase to $50. Chair would entertain a motion to approve that.
I'll move.
We have a motion by Councillor Kaler. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Councillor Wegner. Discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
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 And I'll vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Next, we have a letter from Councillor Kaler that was discussed at the Committee of the Whole to set a date of March 1st to come up with a plan with the ambulance. Chair would entertain a motion to set that date.
Also move.
We have a motion by Councillor Buller. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion.
Oh, yeah, as you, I also, because we've talked at length about the ambulance service, correct? And the financial difficulties we're having in that. First and foremost, my optimal goal would be to have everything the way it is now. But that's going to take some help with getting a taxing district or some other finances. And, you know, I think we are all in agreement that we need some help from the county in some form or the other if we're going to be able to keep offering paramedic service. But I also, part of the letter, I wanted to ask the ambulance director and city administration to look at these other options. And these are just options and just not left, the only ones to look at. And there are resumed talks with the Koochining County around an ambulance taxing district, the possibility of an ambulance area fee similar to the county sanitation fee that is added to garbage service fees, staying with our present paramedic-based system the way it is, no changes, combinations of paramedic EMT teams, return to BLS system, in any of these scenarios, have the fire department driver engineers also be in EMTs? Paramedic base for the city, BLS for the rest of the service area. Go to full-time paramedics and all volunteer fire department. And eventually, when we run out of money, if we don't straighten this out, we'll have no ambulance service. And like I say in here, the state can say we need to have one, but if we don't have no money, we can't have one. These are just goals. I just think we need to set a date on it so we get an idea.
Excellent. Councilor Wagner.
I would add, we need to bring also to the table, have the administrator and the ambulance director, the hospital, and the
Yes.
senior citizens, Good Sam, and Essentia, and all these places that our ambulance takes people to. They've got a stake in this. We're bringing them a patient that they're charging money to, but they're not paying us nothing for.
I agree, and I thought of those,
And
too.
they
just to put them on
need
there.
to be in this conversation because this is going to hurt them too.
It's going to hurt them.
You go, throughout the state, other states, they have their own ambulances, these hospitals, not cities. So
I
much.
agree. That's
Just a suggestion.
and then a good one.
I mean, they need to be in the conversation because they're making the call. We take this person to Duluth, but they're not paying them for it.
And that will obviously affect them if we end up not having paramedics.
Yeah.
So might be some incentive for them to also get involved in more ways than one.
So we do have a motion for setting the date and to look at these particular items. I did sign on to be on a task force for ambulance through the state. League of Minnesota Cities and the Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities are both looking for people to sit on that board. And I have signed up. I don't know if I'm on it yet, but that's one of the things that, I mean, Councilor Holden has brought it up a handful of times that this is our number one priority. We don't want to change what we're doing. We can't financially support it. We are a city of 6,000 people, and we are providing the ambulance service for every member of the taxing district, or I'm sorry, the service area. By the state of Minnesota, we are required to provide service to that service area. We do not get funded for servicing that area. A vast majority of it is Coochin County land. A portion of it is Rainier, and another portion of it is part of St. Louis County. As we all know, we've had stalls in having an ambulance taxing district. We lose approximately $250,000 a year providing the ambulance service. It's important. It's about people. It's about our residents. But we can't afford to do it alone. And we've asked for help from our local partners, and it has not went through. We have to set a date. That's where we're at right now. We have had some good conversations with Coochin County regarding our ambulance situation. I personally struggle if we try to get an ambulance taxing district and only one partner gets in. If it's just Coochin County and Rainier doesn't do it and St. Louis County doesn't do it, it really doesn't fix the problem. So we're looking for solutions because we can't continue to lose money on a service that we're providing the rest of the area. So.
Why, if they don't want to do that, why don't you tell them to form their own ambulance service? You take care of.
You can't do it. The state doesn't allow us to do that. We have a service area, and the service area we cannot give away. We can't break it up. It is a service area that is designed by the state, At some point in the 1980s, the city of International Falls said, you know what, we'll provide ambulance service. And back in the 80s, with the amount of money that we got from, by Medicare, Medicaid, that ended up being good. The numbers haven't went up as inflation has happened. We pay our employees amount for today's dollars, and we're getting paid in 1980 dollars. We are not able to sustain what we're doing, but we are mandated by the state to provide this service. As you can read in Councilor Kaler's thing, we can't quit the ambulance, but the state will not allow us to say, you know what, we don't have an ambulance. However, we can go bankrupt. We have had a conversation with one of our state representatives, and what he's told us is, just raise your taxes. Well, the taxes are on the residents of International Falls, but the service is for the greater Coochiching County. So I don't think that that's the right way to do it. So we're looking at any and all options right now, because we have great people that are working in that department, and they are saving lives in our community, and we recognize that. But we also recognize that we can't afford to continually lose money, and we know that we have a poorer demographic that lives in the city of International Falls, that we can't continue raising the taxes $250,000 every year to cover the costs of our ambulance.
What is the reason they don't want to go in and help us?
I can't answer that. That would be a question for the City Council of Rainier, the St. Louis County Board of Commissioners, and the Coochiching County Board of Commissioners. I can't answer that question.
It's hard to believe.
Pardon me?
I said it's hard to believe that they don't want to help. You know, they've had meetings and brought to their attention, kind of like the library too, you know. It's the International Falls people that pays for the library, but all the people in Cooch County use it. And we don't get any money for that. We pay for it. You do. I do.
But I mean, I know that's wrong. I don't mind paying my share, but why do I have to pay your share?
Exactly.
And their county people probably use the library more than the city.
Yeah. I don't understand it either.
All right, we're getting off subject. Please, Tim.
Back to the ambulance, I think we also need to look at a delegation to go down to the legislature and lobby the efforts for this, including not just League of Minnesota Cities. Maybe we get some of the workers involved, some of us, people from the hospital, whatever. They need to help us too with this. And not only at the state level, we need to get to the federal level also.
Correct. City Administrator.
Yep. I've attended 2 meetings as well in regards to, I've attended a EMSRB meeting where they had all the delegates in the room. Everybody has the same issue. The exact same things that we're all talking about is the Medicare, Medicaid, the government payers don't cover the costs. I just attended via Zoom on Wednesday afternoon, another one from the American Ambulance Association, or Minnesota Ambulance Association, and it was the exact same conversation. They are working on it, however, they're trying to figure it out as well, as we are. However, we do have the avenue to do a taxing district. That's our avenue, is a taxing district. And until we move that forward, we're going to continue down this road. And I don't know that our legislation is going to come up and create and call it an essential service anytime soon, because then if they do, then they provide funding for it. But they all, it's in the talks. It's EMSRB, which is the Emergency Medical Regulatory Board, the Minnesota Ambulance Association. I was in a meeting also where Rukavina, drawing a blank on her first name. Ida. She's also meeting with rural ambulances on the range, talking with the same conversation. The legislatures are there as well. They're working on it as well. we still need to do what we can locally, but they are working on it. The EMSRB has a new director, which has probably been in place a year and a half now, so he's got his hands full. Because they all know that a lot of their rules and regulations, as you indicated, Mayor, were put in the 80s, and they haven't changed and been updated. So they know we have issues. They're doing some of their due diligence too, but we still have our homework as well.
Brenda.
I was going to wait to the open forum, but this is a better place to talk about.
If we're talking about ambulance, for sure.
Why you come up here, Brett?
Yeah, so they can hear online.
My name's Brenda Luchahan. I've been on the ambulance service for about 14 years now. I had not planned on talking. I just wanted to come here and just to see what the talk was about. But Mayor Droba, you said that we cannot financially afford the ambulance, and I don't know all of the details, but something did not sit well with me when Councilor Wagner questioned hiring this new EMT. Nothing against the new EMT. I don't know who she is or who it is. But Mr. Kaler responded with, no, it's not going to cost us anything because it's an on-call person. It's not true.
It wasn't going to cost us any more than what we'd be paying now for that person. She isn't an extra person. She'll be taking somebody's shift or whatever that we're already paying for.
It costs money to train people. It costs money to outfit people. It costs all this money that we're spending towards these people here. You got to understand, I've been here for 14 years. I've seen all these changes. It costs money. We throw money into training. We throw money into outfits or uniforms. We throw money at these new people, and we're not keeping them. I've been here 14. That's money out the door. We're wasting money when we're not getting the right people. That's what I wanted to say. That your comment, I guess I just didn't understand.
That's fine.
Yeah, but that's what I wanted to stress is that, you know, if we can't financially afford it, why are we continuing to do what we're doing? Things we need to change things. He had a great question, and to further to I don't have that letter or whatever the bullet points are. Our engineers are already EMTs. Do you know that?
Well, now I do.
Every engineer is already an EMT. We already run paramedic EMT. So I challenge each one of you.
Do you run paramedic? So you're
EMT paramedic.
Do you
know our service? I challenge each one of you to come down and get to know our service.
That's why I'm asking the questions.
Yeah.
No, but so every shift there's an EMT and a paramedic.
That's the way we're running right now because we're short paramedics.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So.
But it wasn't always, was it? There was a time.
4 or 5 years it's been EMT paramedic.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. Oh. And then it used to be paramedic, EMT.
And like I said, this is no question about the good job you guys do, what you do. We're just looking for some type of...
I didn't say anything about the job we do.
I know, I just wanted to... I'm not.
Yeah.
We're just trying to find solutions. And I ask those questions and see those are two things we answered right there.
Yeah.
But if we didn't answer them, we wouldn't. No.
I want to stress the fact that our paramedics, I've been working with our paramedics for I don't even know how many years. If we lose our paramedics and we go back to a BLS system, I honestly don't know what I'm going to do. Our paramedics, our paramedics are just everything over there. They save lives. They really make a difference in our community. And every single one of them are great paramedics. And if we lose them, I mean, I'm here begging you guys. That option should just be out the door. We need to figure it out some other way.
Then that's what we're looking for.
We agree that the system that we have...
We agree, but if we don't put that these are some options that we have to look at and don't put a date on it, we're going to be where we've been the last 2-3 years where nothing's
But seeing
changing.
that on a piece of paper or seeing that in a list or whatever is very, it's very hurtful. I mean, Our community needs.
What we need from you guys is to stress to these other communities how important it is, and tell your stories to Coochin County's Board of Directors, St. Louis County's Board of Directors, Rainier, because those are, we're funding it.
Yeah.
We are the ones that are doing it. We need your stories to be heard from these other organizations, because that's what helps us.
I'm an EMT on the service. I don't get paid, or that's not my job. Our leader or our chief or who, I think that's your guys'.
And I'll tell you what, but they're not listening to us. They're not that, and this letter was pointed at them. It wasn't pointed at the people at the fire hall. And he said this letter is pointed at the other people that we've been talking to, telling them we're in a desperate state here, and this is what we might have to resort to. None of us want to resort to this.
I would love to come to a meeting, get more involved, whatever I need to do.
Brenda, that means all 5 of us feel the same way. We know we got a good service as far as the employees and that. We also know we're almost at 1.5 million in the hole.
Yep, I understand.
Can't continue like that.
I understand that.
3 years ago, when we were asked, each one of us as councilmen, asked by the mayor, what's the top priority for what we're looking at here, our agenda and stuff, you know, our budget and everything. And it was right at the top. We got to do something.
Yeah, no, I understand we have to do something, but I'm just giving our feeling is.
Yeah, and we all know.
It hurts to see that on a,
I got it.
I'm sure it does.
I'm sure it does.
You know, let's just get rid of
it.
the
But we
paramedics.
need you, like, because you're a good speaker, you got to go. I don't want to say you got to, but it'd be nice if you went to the county and give a good, speech to them. City of Rainier. What do we got? Cab area, St.
Louis County.
St. Louis County.
And Rainier.
And Rainier. They haven't come aboard. They don't.
Yeah.
And I think, just to reiterate the entire thing, Pete had said, we have had these conversations for 3 years. They've fallen on deaf ears for 3 years. We're at the point now where we have to do something. I mean, we're looking at state legislature. We're looking at any options. We had a meeting 2 months ago with Senator Klobuchar. We're trying anything we can to keep the level of service that we have, because we understand how important it is. But we need everyone else. We need our partners to partner with us. There's actually, under the mayor's report, I have more conversation about the ambulance, so thank you.
And you are correct. The ambulance director bears an incredible responsibility here of where this ambulance is at. And he should be at these county board meetings and at Rainier and every place else looking for a way to solve this. That's his job. You're absolutely correct.
Thank you for.
Well, thank you, and thank you for clarifying some of my questions that we were looking into.
Thank you.
So that's all well.
All right. That was a much longer discussion than I would have thought, but I actually greatly appreciate it, because it was good conversation. All right, so we have a motion and a second. I will call the question.
Aye.
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 And I will vote yes. Motion carries 5-0. All right, any other business come before the council? All right, we'll go to the reports of the administrator, attorney, and department head. City administrator.
Mayor, I have nothing additional this evening.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll go to city attorney.
I have nothing additional. Thanks.
All right, department heads.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Thank you, guys. All right, and then we'll go to, in your packet, you have the monthly report for the police. You also have the fire rescue EMS monthly report for September. Go to the reports of the mayor, council, committees, boards, and commissions. Anybody? I just wanted to, two things. I said at the committee of the whole I was going to reach out to the city administrator and discuss a date for a town hall for the garbage ordinance and for the ambulance community ambulance conversation, to have a town hall to kind of discuss where we're at and why we're having these conversations that are obviously touching members of our community. So I have not done that. I will reach out early next week if we can just sit down and try to figure out a date that we can do that. I did not get to that last week. And the second thing is, I don't know if any of you guys have heard, but the tolls to go across the bridge went up.
Really?
Yeah, I heard that.
I heard that too.
Yeah. So I think I told you guys a month ago, myself and the city administrator had been invited to a meeting in Fort Francis with Fort Francis Mayor, the owners of the bridge, and one of the members of Parliament, Marcus Pulowski. I did have a meeting with the mayor of Fort Francis on Saturday. He says that we are in a position right now where he believes that we have a partner, potentially for Government Assistance of Canada to build a new bridge. With the approval of the council, I would like to write a letter to Dwayne Hill from the Minnesota Department of Transportation, giving him that information and seeing if we can start the process of having Minnesota start working with Fort Francis and get those members to sit down to have a conversation about building a new bridge. I don't need a formal motion. I just wanted to let you guys know that that's something that's happening. So we're
so moved.
We don't even need a motion. I just wanted to bring it to your attention so that if something comes back, that you guys are aware of the situation. Again, we are in a bad situation because it's a private business that owns that bridge. So we have no say in what we can do, but I can tell you that I did speak with one of the owners of the bridge on Wednesday last week, and I just pointed out some of the concerns that we had, and he had said that they have some tough things that they have to fund on their side. The price they did not believe was outrageous. In fact, they gave me some examples on how it is very standard across other international bridges that are privately owned. They also had said that it is their job to provide the service of the bridge and to collect a fee to afford that. And it is our job to, in some capacity, if it is I forgot the word. It was really perfect though. Quality of life. If it comes down to a quality of life, they are more than willing to work or negotiate with any governmental units. So I think now it's time to get our governmental units involved in having the conversation about a new bridge. So anyways, I'm going to move forward with that. I don't have anything else to report on. Please.
Just noticing in the correspondence,
yes,
with the HRA,
yes,
and there was some talk about the old Holiday Inn being renovated. What do you anything on that?
I don't know any information on that. I do know that there are other properties in the area that are interested in selling too. So I'm very open to. I'm just excited that they're pursuing some new avenues.
Yeah, well, yes, that's mainly what I was getting at. Yeah, so that's a possibility. That's good news.
All right, go to audience. Does anyone have anything in the audience that would like to bring forward? Please, come on up.
Good evening, guys. I'm Joe Schwartz. I'm the business rep for the Machinist Union. I represent the fire department, police department, paramedics. I just wanted to do some clarification on a few things that were said here today. And First of all, the labor management meetings, I want to make this clear. There is no labor management meeting for the police department, but that doesn't mean that you still don't have to talk with the union. The labor management meeting, that's for the paramedics and the fire department. They cannot come to any agreement. They cannot agree to anything. That has to go through me as the business rep. And I am just an outside entity. I am not part of the labor management. I'm the same thing as Betty is. Betty has her representative, Sherry, there, who she gets information from, and I get it from Sweeney and Tweet for the paramedics. So I knew nothing of this sick and safe time or of this FMLA until Thursday of last week in an email. I sent back a response to Sherry explaining some of the things that I didn't like that I seen were in it and that we should have a discussion on it. The sick and safe time, I think we need to get together and have a conversation on that, and you guys did put that on the table. So I'm hoping that Sherry and I will be able to have a conversation about that. The FMLA, I had brought that up. I had a conversation with Tim, and I was kind of hoping you guys would hold off on that too. And my reasoning behind that is in January 1 of 2025, it becomes paid FMLA. And that means half of the money comes from the city, half of the money is going to come from the employees. So what has been talked about how that's going to happen? Because I'm in conversations with other companies. I got 14 different companies within the state of Minnesota. One of them that I'm working with now is PCA. And they're trying to get ahead of this. And they're trying to work out a deal now that possibly the deductions would start to come out of the employee starting in January of 2024 so that the paid FMLA is available January 1st, 2025. Otherwise, it's going to be coming out on an hourly basis and the employee has to pay 13.5%, or no, 0.135% into this fund. But there will be no money available if you don't start collecting it until 2025. So it's like, if you're going to put an FMLA policy together, let's put the whole thing together and vote for the whole thing at one time instead of piecemealing it here and piecemealing it there. So that was one of the things I was hoping you would rethink. And you're going to wind up going back through this again now next year when we go into that paid FMLA. But again, let's talk about it now. Let's not just put it out there a week before you're going to vote on it, and that's when I find out about it, and then I have questions and concerns, and those can't be addressed, and you've already voted and passed it. So I would like to see more conversations with the union. With me, I'm not speaking on behalf of the 49ers. I don't have a right to speak on their behalf. I'm only speaking on the machinist union people. That's what I'm here to speak about. One of the other things I wanted to have a conversation about the ambulance services, which I do represent. Now, in previous administrations, your predecessor and your predecessor, I've had for the last 5 years conversations with them, and I've given them ideas, offered to help. I've talked to them about bringing the players involved as far as Falls Memorial Hospital, Essentia, those types of things, because in my travels throughout the state, I see a lot of ambulances in rural communities, smaller than ours, with Essential ambulance service on it and Sanford ambulance service on it. How are they getting those? You know, and at the same time, we spend, as an organization, Machinist Union, we spend millions of dollars per year on lobbying at the federal level and at the state level. And I have offered the union would come in and help with the city and lobby in St. Paul. We'd lobby in Washington, D.C. and help. To no avail has anybody ever taken me up on that. So the unions are proactive in trying to make this work and make this ambulance service work, not only just because we represent those individuals and their jobs, because of this community. I live in this community. I own 2 homes in this community. I pay taxes here. Advanced life support is what we need to have here, not a volunteer system. And I know you guys are all in favor of the advanced life support. So we need to find a way to make that happen here. And whatever we can do, I can get all the union support there is, federally and state-wise. We just had just for a little background story, we just had a plant in Pembina, North Dakota. They're a bus manufacturer, MCI bus plant. They were slated to close June 1st of this year. And through lobbying efforts and working with the federal government, they now are staying open, and they're going to renegotiate a new contract in 2025. And that all happened because what we worked with their legislature in the state of North Dakota and at the federal level out in Washington, D.C. So they have a very, very good future looking forward. And I'm willing to help you any way that I can. Any way that I can.
Joe.
All the resources I got, I will put at your disposal.
Joe.
Yeah.
Would you be willing to go to the table with the county and the city of Rainier and St. Louis County, just like what you're telling us?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Because I know you could do some good speaking there about the importance of it.
Absolutely.
Right.
No doubt about it.
No, I'd agree, and I'm sure we would take all the help we could get when it comes to lobbying and whatnot. When that's conversations we can have with Betty, that when we come to this, when it comes to that. And this is exactly why I brought the letter to the forefront, for Brenda to come here and talk, for them to be here, for you here, to let people know it's all, instead of us just kicking around in our own little circles here. And hopefully it'll be in the paper. And this is like you said, we all, the first thing I said, we all want to keep what we have. That's all you got to do is go down the, road, like you say, ambulance, going farther and farther just to get the help we need. Oh, you're asking me? No, wrong meeting. That's whenever this one's over.
I think we should publish this in the paper. I think the community needs to see this is where we're headed. Not everybody watches this on TV, but it'll get out there.
Well, I don't have a problem with it being in the paper or on our website.
Why don't we wait until after we do when we do the town hall, we'll put all that information out.
Excellent.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, thanks, Joe.
Thanks.
Great idea.
Don't do that. Please.
So Patrick O'Connell, I'm with the Laborers Union of North America, LIUNA. Firstly, I just wanted to thank you guys for passing the PLA. I think it's going to be a great addition to your guys' city. I did just want to clarify a couple points, and I didn't say anything beforehand because I don't foresee it being a problem. The threshold was changed from 2016. It was $100,000. In 2018, it went to $175,000. So it has been the same threshold for about 5 years now. The difference between setting a regular threshold and kind of pairing it with the state is the state can raise it, and the state can, if the statute changes, there could be exemptions or carve-outs for certain projects. The idea behind a PLA is it applies to every project over a certain dollar amount you guys want in your area. We don't want any carve-outs, we don't want anything like that. So just to clarify that, why it's more local power if you set a regular threshold than pairing it with the state. I don't foresee it being an issue, which is, again, why I didn't bring anything up earlier. But yeah, I just wanted to clarify that a little bit. And again, thank you for passing the PLA.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pat.
All right, anyone else in the audience bring anything forward? All right, as you can see in your correspondence, we did get a letter from the Housing and Redevelopment Authority in their minutes, and the International Falls Public Library Board meeting information for October 11th. Our next city council meeting will be on November 6th. Just give you a heads up, I will not be here. It is deer season, so I'm going to Florida. So,
Flying you down there for that?
Yeah, I'm flying down there for that. And coincidentally, it's also when I'm doing my speaking at the National Coffee Conference. So I will not be at the next city council meeting. This meeting is adjourned. We have a EDA meeting directly following.